All right, we can start. Good evening. The meeting of the Board of Adjustment for the Borough of Somerville for April 1st, 2026 will please come to order. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act has been that on January 21st, 2026, a copy of the notice specifying the date, time, and location was posted on a bulletin board outside of Borough Hall, given to the clerk administrator, mailed, faxed, or emailed to the Courier News, and placed on the Borough website. If anybody believes that this meeting is being held in violation of the Open Public Meeting Act, please state your views at this time. These proceedings are of a judicial nature. Only those items on the agenda will be commented on or questions fielded for those applications. If you're here for the storage units, that's not until the 15th. Roll call, please.
Chairman Ardadair.
Here.
Ed Allett is excused. Roberta Carpenetz.
Here.
Morgan McLaughlin is excused. Rich O'Neill.
Here.
Brian Vidimski.
Here.
John Flores.
Here.
Eric Alvarez.
Here.
Stuart Daniels.
Would someone like to move that Stu Daniels' absence be moved and seconded, that Stu Daniels' absence be recorded as excused?
Okay.
Okay, next item, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next item, approval of the minutes for the March 18th meeting. I think it was the 18th. Someone like to move? Someone like to second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Excellent. There were no resolutions tonight? Okay.
Next, we have the hearing 2025-014Z. Mark Sadrick, 71 North Dowdy Avenue, Block 132, Lot 6.
Jason, I think it's the vote first, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we can
Are
do the vote.
You can do the vote?
Yeah.
It's the revote on Princeton Canal.
Just 1 second, Joe.
Morgan's not here. Oh, Rich is here.
Please have a seat for a minute. Mr. Chairman, as we discussed at the last meeting, there may have been some confusion in connection with the board's vote to deny, thank you, the board's vote to deny the application by Princeton Canal LLC for 69 West End Avenue, Block 129, Lot 6.01. This was our docket number 2025-009Z. After discussion, it was determined that to alleviate any confusion, that the board would do a revote. What we had was a motion that was made by Mr. McLuhan to, I'm sorry, to deny the application. And there was some colloquy, and then the vote was taken. But I think the way this is to be handled, the motion to deny should be, if a member wants to deny, it should be yes to deny or no not to deny. I want that made clear. If there's any questions, please ask them now. Okay, with that in mind, it would be my suggestion that the secretary read the roll and that the board revote in connection with this application. If necessary, I'll read it, but I would prefer that the appropriate thing is that the secretary read it.
Chairman Ardadair.
Yes for denial.
Thank you.
Roberta Carpenetz.
Yes for denial.
Rich O'Neill.
Yes for denial.
John Flores.
No.
Eric Alvarez.
No.
Okay, it's carried. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. The application is considered to be denied, and I have not yet prepared a resolution. We'll do so for a subsequent meeting. Mr. Chairman, back to you, sir.
Okay, Jason, what do we have?
Now we have the hearing 2025-014Z. Mark Sadrak, 71 North Dowdy Avenue, Block 132, Lot 6.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have the applicant, and I am the architect.
Okay.
Swear us in.
Oh, sure, could you enter your appearance, your name, and, your name and your applicant's name, please?
Sure. My name is Mark Sadrak, property owner.
All right, let me start off.
Sorry.
What I'm gonna do is, let me swear in your architect, then I'm gonna swear you in, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Joseph Primiano, Primiano.
Very good, sir. Now, if you would do the same, you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Mark Sadrak, spelling is S-A-D-R-A-K.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Your case.
Esteemed-
Welcome.
Esteemed members of the board, my fellow neighbors, thank you for taking this time to hear our application. We come as a application of a growing family, wanting to grow our family here in Somerville. As you can see, I brought my family with me, with my beautiful wife and 3 boys. Very excited to be here and be a part of this. We come to ask, we came from getting married in 2016. I can get that wrong, my wife is here. We got married in 2016, so this is our 10-year anniversary. We purchased our home in 2018. When we purchased our home, we were looking for somewhere to spend the rest of our lives, right? Most people don't like moving. I didn't. And so when we bought our home, we bought it as our forever home. We didn't know how many kids we'd have at the time, and as time progressed, we were given and blessed with 3 beautiful boys. But as time also progressed, the need for space increased.
Does that?
They were a blessing indeed.
And therefore, we came to a resolution where we had 2 options. We would either sell our home, which we loved so much and we bought and made our memories, and try and find a bigger space, or we would work with the space that we have and try and increase that space. And here's where we hired this wonderful architect, Joseph, who's been with us every step of the way, helped take our vision and make it a reality. We love this community, we love this town. I was trying to think of fun, witty ways, but to say I don't want to be a hero, I'd rather be a summer villain. But I don't want to be a villain, right? So I'm here, and I want to hand it off to Joe, who has kind of taken our vision and put that into a reality. Thank you again.
Mr. Sadrak, that's been a question that people have been asking for a long time. Is it Somerville or Somervilleite?
I contrasted it with hero, but we're all heroes here, so thank you.
Mr. Primiano, I just want to let you know that I have reviewed the public notice that you propounded upon me, and it's my opinion that it is legally sufficient as the form and content, and the board can exercise jurisdiction over this application.
Thank you.
So please, you may go forward.
So I am a licensed architect. My license is still active. I'm licensed in 10 other states. I've testified before numerous boards throughout this state. I've testified numerous times before this board. I'm going to summarize kind of what the applicant is looking to do here, and kind of touch upon some of the key points that was brought up in Michael Cole's report. I kind of did my outline in a similar fashion, so hopefully I can answer all of those questions and summarize everything that may be outstanding, regarding this application. So the address is 71 North Dowdy Avenue. The house is in the R2 zone. Property's roughly a quarter acre. There's a 2-story house in the front of the property, and on the back of the property is a 1-story garage. There's a split driveway that's on the right side of the property, which in this case I believe is like the north side of the property. And that shared driveway goes between, I believe it's 71 and what? 69. And then they have a garage that is about halfway back. The applicant has a garage that's all the way in the backyard. If I have an aerial that's on the title sheet, I have blown up copies of that if you guys do want to see that. But pretty much what's happening is this detached garage is in the back. It is a 2-car garage or kind of 1.5 garage with a storage that's attached to it. And surrounding that garage, pretty much all the neighbors also have similar garages. There's to the south, there's a 3-car garage. To the west, there are 2 properties that front on Mountain Street. They also have garages that back up to this. There's also a shed on the one property. And then there is the parking lot that comes in from the funeral home. Just to go over some areas, the existing garage is currently 437 square feet. We're adding about 88 square feet to the garage, which will make a total of 525 square feet on the garage. The existing storage space is 163 square feet. And that space is pretty much being rotated to allow room for the new fitness area. That fitness area is going to be about 159 square feet. And then based on the shape of the roof, we did a storage space above, which gives him some extra storage, which is going to be 354 square feet. So pretty much the overall existing building is 600 square feet. When we're all said and done, it'll be 1218, which is about 525 square feet of garage and 690 square feet of storage and fitness. And again, as the applicant testified, this is a forever home. He has a growing family. He needs the extra space. The basement in the house is very short. It's only about 5 feet tall. It's unfinished. And it's not even under the whole house. Only a portion of it is actually the tall basement at 5 feet. The rest of it is about 2.5 feet tall, and it's all crawl space. So he has no storage underneath the house or any kind of finished rooms. So this garage is to help him get some more storage space. There are several variances that are needed because of this. We have a bunch of C variances, which I will go through, and then we also have a D variance for the floor area ratio. So currently, the C variances, so the maximum improvement coverage in this zone is allowed to be 40%. It's currently over at 57.39. So as we were designing this, we said, well, that's quite a bit over. Is there anything we can do to get those numbers down? And what we did was there's a large gravel area that's in the back portion of the yard that's all being removed, and that's going to be converted back to grass. So where it looks like we're making the building larger, the numbers are correct. The numbers that I have on my drawing are correct. There actually is a reduction. It's going from 57.39 down to 54.89. So there's almost a 3% reduction in improvement coverage. The next variance is the floor area ratio. Currently, the existing house is at 3,072 square feet. The existing FAR is 26.57, and the maximum FAR is allowed to be 30%. When we add that 693 square feet of finished space, it puts us over at the 32.57, which is why we need the D4 variance. There's also a variance for the overall size of the garage. So an accessory building cannot exceed 600 square feet. This building will be 864 square feet. So we're 264 square feet over on the footprint. The rear lot line needs to be 12.5 feet. The existing building is actually over the property line. It is on the back of, let me see here. I want to get the numbers correct here.
Are you citing for materials that are all in your application? I just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Okay.
and all these are on my drawings. All these numbers are
Very
on my
good.
drawings.
Okay,
Yep,
I just want to
yep.
confirm that for the record.
Correct, correct. So we show that the existing garage is actually over the property line on the backside. And I believe that's on 64 Mountain Avenue, which is the garage that's directly behind this. There's two garages that are behind this, but the one that is over is on 64 Mountain. As part of this application, that bump out and that overage is being removed. We are completely taking that portion of the garage off, so now everything the applicant is doing is gonna be on their property, and there's nothing gonna be remaining on any adjacent properties. That just makes everybody's life easier for everything, for easements, for lawsuits, for resale, for whatever. Now, this building will solely be on their property. The same goes for the side. The existing side is at 0.3. We're keeping that. We're maintaining those two walls. The sideline needs to be 8. But again, we're keeping those two, the rear wall and the right wall. The only expansion is going into the applicant's property. There was also a variance needed for the max height, but when we computed the height, we actually did it incorrectly, and we didn't go to the mean. We listed it accidentally as the peak, but the mean height is actually 15.9 feet, which complies with the ordinance as we drew it. So there is no height variance needed. So some of the comments, again, in the planner's report, talks about the square footage that's being added, and some of the overages over the property. I kind of just was gonna go in order to that report and just go item by item. The first item was that the garage is over the property line, so we stated that the applicant is gonna remove that portion of the garage. The expansion only adds 693 square feet of finished space. The upper floor is sloped, and none of those areas would count in the FAR because they're all lower than 7 feet. Most of those areas actually go to 0 because that upper floor is like an attic space. It's not a full second floor. It goes down the rafters, sit on the ceiling joist, and that comes down to a small point. The only spot that you could actually stand in is the middle strip on that upper floor. And as you look if you look at the floor plans, the stairs occupy a good portion of that because the stairs need to come up in the middle, because if you come up near the edge, you'll hit your head. There was on the first floor, the applicant is proposing to have a little fitness area. He likes to work out. There's no room to do that in the house. It makes sense to do it in this back building because it'll be slab on grade. All the equipment could sit on the ground. Nothing's vibrating and shaking through. Because of that, he would like to have a sink out there, just for good hygiene. He wants to be able to wash his hands, wash his face if he's sweating. So we had a little sink in there. It's actually quite a bit of an expense on the applicant to do that because of the distance, but that was his wishes. He would prefer to have the sink out there. So again, he could just wash. He could wash his hands if he wants to get a little drink, whatever. Materials, aesthetics, roof lines, windows, all of that is designed to match the house. The gable roofs, the colors, the materials, everything will match the house except for one item. The applicant would like to do vinyl siding on the garage. Currently, there's old aluminum siding on the house. He wants to replace the aluminum siding with a new vinyl siding, so the garage is almost going first. They'll still have the same clapboard look, still same color, same reveals and exposure, but the material will be different because he doesn't want to match the aluminum that's on the house, just as far as material. Unless you went up to it and knocked on it, you wouldn't know the difference. The existing leaders that are on the garage now actually have drainage to a pop-up that goes in the yard. And our intention is to connect those leaders into that same pop-up. It's also part of the reason why we're adding more grass area and we're reducing that gravel area. So there's actually a reduction on the stormwater, and that should, I don't think there's any issues in there, but if there were, hopefully that would reduce any kind of stormwater runoff going anywhere else. Because now there would be more percentage of grass to be able to accept that stormwater. The utilities, so we're gonna run, obviously, there's power out there now. We're gonna keep electric power out there. We're gonna run a water line and a waste line back. All of that will come back and be connected into that basement that's in the dwelling. Nothing needs to go out to the street. There's no curb cuts that are needed. There's no connections that are needed. I believe the authority may want just an application for us to reach out to possibly get a letter of no further action or something, or perhaps a fee, but the connections are going into the house. It'd be no different than if you were adding a wet bar in your house somewhere. So we're just adding that one sink. As far as the D4 variance, a lot of New Jersey municipal land use refers to, precedent cases. In this particular instance, the case that's cited is Coventry Square versus Westwood. And in that case, the applicant had to show that the site can accommodate any of the issues that come up, right? Now, in a very involved site, there could be a lot of issues. And typically, in a residential site, the issue becomes parking, okay? So how does the site handle parking, right? So if I'm increasing the FAR, typically most of the time people are increasing bedrooms, and they'd be increasing the amount of parking spaces that would be needed off-site. In this particular case, because the driveway goes all the way to the backyard, the driveway itself could probably hold 5 cars, easily 5 cars, without even on the split area. Because, if somebody parks in that split and it's blocking the neighbor, I don't even want to count those spaces. So that you could easily fit 5 cars on the driveway in the back, and obviously we're making the garage larger, so you're gonna have 2 spaces in the garage. So there's 7 available parking spaces on site, and the residential site improvement standards require, for a 4-bedroom house, which this is, they require 2.5 parking spaces. So we are well above the parking requirements. So typically you say, okay, is this site adequate to handle that? Yes, we are not increasing any bedrooms, we're not increasing any parking, and the site is adequately sized to handle this expansion. Typically with the C variances, we go into, positive criteria and negative criteria, and how it impacts the neighborhood, how it impacts the zone and the ordinance and the master plan. We try to get as many positives as possible when we design these things, right? So we tried to we kept the construction matching the house. We kept the 2 walls in the same locations. Everything was expanded inward towards the applicant's property. We eliminated the overage that's on the back property. So we tried to get as many positive items as possible. There's no trees that have to be removed. And again, we're also reducing the overall coverage. Because that whole entire gravel area is coming out, we now have more grass area to help with stormwater.
Mr. Permian, I don't mean to
Sure.
interrupt you, but do you identify these as C2 or C1 variances? Under 40:55D-70.
I believe it's gonna be C1.
Are these hardship variances, or are they what someone inartfully referred to as flexible C?
It would be the flexible C because.
Benefits outweighing the detriments?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. So there's more positives than negatives. Absolutely. So as far as a hardship, no, it's a regular shaped lot, so this would be the flexible C. And then again, so there were some general comments about the sidewalk. I think the sidewalk's in pretty good shape across this property, but the applicant has no issue with adding notes to the drawings about if there are some damaged portions of the sidewalk, they can be fixed. I know they're in the bluestone area, so if that could be replaced in like, that's not a problem. There were some comments about the calculations and some of the patios. I believe the property survey was completed before some of those items or something changed, but I do stand behind my drawing. I went and measured all of that, so the site plan that's on my T1 and all my calculations include everything that's on his property. So I included patios, walkways, driveways, decks, everything was included in my numbers. I did provide, as part of the application, there's a heat pump that's going in for some heating and cooling in this space. And the condenser that I originally selected had a higher decibel level, which didn't comply with the ordinance. We have no problem working with the planner on resubmitting a revised condenser. I did bring one with me. I did find one that complies with the ordinance of the 50 decibels at night. So that will be a quiet condenser, so it does comply with the noise ordinance. And I think that covered all of his items. Again, just to summarize, I mean, the applicant's just looking to add some extra garage space and extra storage space. We tried to be very mindful of what we designed here. We tried to eliminate any kind of issues that are already existing as the garage is over the property line, the coverages, the reduction of the gravel area, and we just tried to present the board with a nice project that works for the applicant, but also helps try to be in compliance with some of these rules. So I hope that covered everything. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Anybody from the audience have any questions of the testimony just given? Come on up. Speak into the mic, please.
Hi, my name is Chris Cutler at 64 Mountain Avenue. And I was also asked by my neighbor, Rocky DeMeo, to speak on his behalf.
No, you can speak on your behalf.
You can speak on your own behalf, but not on behalf of another property.
Okay, that's fine. I'll speak on my own behalf. We welcome children into the neighborhood. Welcome. We think that's wonderful. I really wish that the architect had reached out to us before doing so much work on the property. I went and inspected the drawings, and the first thing that struck me was that within inches of my property, there'll be a 21-foot high wall on the south side because he's building right onto the property line, as the current structure is, but that's at 8 feet high. This will be 21 feet high, blocking out the sunlight that goes to our garden and turn the backyard into a valley of darkness. So I was not happy with that. I also think that if they're building a structure, their workers are going to have to be all over our property if they're building on the property line, and that's not exactly something that we find satisfactory. There was some language in it that this is an addition to a garage, or I'm not an expert at this, but the drawings suggest that everything above ground is entirely replaced, so it's an entirely new structure. Looking at the zoning rules I thought were a maximum of 16 feet, not an average of 16 feet, but I'm not an expert at the subject. The other aspect was that the structure should be built at least 8 feet from the property line. So this is nowhere near that. I'm not saying that I'm demanding 8 feet, but what they're saying is just doesn't work for us. Then with regard to that, I just want to make sure that this isn't like an apartment in the making, and they never suggested it, but they're going to have heating and cooling, they're going to have water, they have power, and there's 1,200 square feet in there, so it is a lot. So I heard a lot of variance requests. I think that this is really stretching the rules for zoning, and I think they should, either keep the existing structure or go back to the drawing boards and perhaps work with the neighbors before they get this far into a project. Currently, the way it exists now, there's no maintenance done on the back of the property.
question?
What's that?
What's the question?
Oh, so I'm just, how can they address our concerns? Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Margaret Phillips, also 64 Mountain Avenue. Yeah, my biggest concern, and I hope you can address this, is there's currently no maintenance done on the back of the garage because it's on our property line. So how would they access the back of their garage again without coming onto our property? So that's my question. Thank you.
Mr. Parmiano?
So I can address all of those. So the wall height is not going to be 21 feet. What the wall height is along the gutter lines is your typical one-story wall height. It's 9 feet, 10 feet. The peak is at the 21 feet. But what we did was there was a lot of thought that went into this. We were trying to minimize the impact to the neighbors. So we actually rotated the way the ridge runs on the building. So currently, the neighbors is 64. They have a hip roof. There's a garage directly behind this one. So they butt up. The applicant's garage is non-compliant. The people that just spoke at 64, their garage is also not compliant. What we tried to do was we said, well, how can we soften that impact? So right now the gable runs north. It runs east to west. So they have a very high peak that faces towards their house. What we did was we changed the direction of the roof, and the ridge runs north to south now, which is similar to the adjacent garage that just got approved a few years back. So that ridge also runs north to south. So when they look at it from their home, they're not seeing that 21 feet tall roof. They probably actually won't see most of it because they'd have to look over their garage that's also a detached garage in the back. They'd have to look over that, and they would see the applicant's peak kind of going away from that. We didn't put any windows on that side. We didn't put any skylights on that side. Again, that was all thought of for the neighbor and for privacy. So I know we might not have talked to them, but as an architect, yes, we always think about what the surrounding items are. So those are why we did some of those. That's why we did that design. There's also a shed. They actually have two detached accessory structures, and they have a shed on the other side as well. So they have two structures that are just as close to the property line as the applicant. We are, and in fact, as I testified, we're not going closer to the property line. The piece that's non-conforming that is on their property is actually being removed. So we thought we were being a very good neighbor and trying to solve all of these issues. As far as workers, when they go to do the construction, I'm an old school kind of person. I would hope that, you hear somebody who's saying, listen, this is going to be my forever home. The fact that these two people don't know each other, it upsets me a little bit. Like, you guys are neighbors. I'd want to see, and hopefully, because of this application, hopefully they can talk, they can get to meet each other, because if I was a neighbor and somebody wanted to do something on their property, hey, can I go on your side for a little bit? Oh, okay, and that's what neighbors do. Now, if that can't happen, it is what it is. We've done plenty of projects that are on the property lines. There are different methods that get built. The actual panels and the wall gets pre-built and then gets tilted up. So there are ways that this can 100% be done without stepping on their property. That's between them if they want to work out an agreement or something, but Again, there are several feet between these buildings. It was also testified by the neighbor that area, it's all cluttered back there. But almost all of that is on their property. It's, this building is 0.1 feet from the property line, and it kind of goes at an angle. So the 5 or 6 feet between the buildings and all the disrepair, and I have pictures of everything if you guys want me to hand out photos, but all the pictures, all the stuff and the overgrown growth that's happening between these buildings is actually on 64's property. It's not on the applicant's property, but I'm sure, again, as a good neighbor, if they would like him to clean some of that up during the construction, I'm sure he would do that. He's not gonna spend all of this time and money and then leave the place a mess. The whole point is to try to make this nice. And I do have pictures of what this existing garage looks like. It has a dirt floor, it's all settling, it's falling apart. And there's also, even on the adjacent neighbor on 60 Mountain Street, there's a pergola across the back. Again, stuff is all rotted, stuff is falling apart. This applicant is here trying to do the right thing. They want to make this better, they want to make it nice, and they also want to clean up any of those areas, even if that's not on their property. So again, I try to address that again with wall heights, roof lines, sunlight, the workers. Yes, it is going to be a lot of new structure. There's really nothing to keep here. The structure's in bad shape, which is why we're proposing to do what we're doing. And then as far as maintenance, again, things, if he's putting a vinyl siding on, vinyl siding requires very little maintenance. So he shouldn't have to be on somebody else's property to maintain that. But again, I would hope that neighbors could talk and say, hey, listen, hey, we're gonna do a spring cleanup. Let's clean up everybody's little building here or something. So,
Sometimes neighbors may or may not talk,
I-
having nothing to do with enmity or anything else.
Sure.
What do you propose to do? The question the question that was put to you directly was, what does, pardon me, thank you.
so.
What does the applicant plan to do? And substantively, I mean, if you believe what you're what you're discussing can be better set forth in pictures, considering the board has to evaluate the veracity of all the evidence, then you should submit those pictures.
Okay.
Don't just talk about them.
Okay, well, I mean, we could look at the property survey. You could see on my title sheet where those two existing garages are drawn, from 60 Mountain Ave and 64 Mountain Ave. And you could see the property line. There's inches between the property line and my applicant's building. 95% of the property is on there, so, I mean, again, can the applicant?
But 0% of the property should be off the property line, so.
No.
Please don't try to explain to me that it's okay that they have an encroachment.
No, all of the overgrowth and the trees and the vines that they're talking about, that's all on their property.
That's, if you want to appear again and state your
You'll be there.
position, that's up to you. But I'm frankly, I'm trying to hold the witness to the standards that are to be evaluated. But don't look at me like that, please.
I have.
I want to hold the witness to the standards of the MLU, all that have to be applied by the board.
Can I just point out something that he said?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Is that okay?
No, come on up, state your name. This is time for questions.
Yeah, Margaret Phillips, 64 Mountain Avenue, and what you said was that our property is not in compliance just like his is, but you also said that there's a 5 to 6 foot difference between his garage back and our garage back. So ours is set back. Ours is not on the property line, as he seems to be implying. Okay, and my concern and the question that I asked is, when you have to maintain the back of the garage, you have to come onto our property, even taking that little abutment out. If you're inches from our property line, there's no way you can maintain the back of your garage without coming onto our property. So how are you going to address that issue?
Okay, I think I have a good solution, because again, I'm always about finding solutions. But let me be clear. I'm not implying that their garage is at the same distance from any property lines. I had said that their garages do not conform with the 8 feet, just like none of the garages in this area comply with the 8 feet. I
The
don't
neighbor's
know.
The neighbor's garage is not the subject matter before the board.
But there was also questions about, again, all of the lack of maintenance back there. All of that is not, it's not on the applicant's property, it's on their property. But my suggestion, so he can maintain his walls, is because we're gonna reconstruct this, because a lot of it is damaged, I don't think the applicant would mind if we pulled the building 2 feet off both property lines. That would give him a little bit room to go there. If he's gotta clean some mold off the siding, he can, so be it. And that'll give them a little bit of space. You know, currently, right now, his building can stay on the property line. It could actually stay over the property line, and he could just choose to repair that building. But if we're all trying to compromise and make something better, okay, then if they're concerned about how is he gonna maintain it, okay, I think the applicant, right, applicant is agreeing, we would pull the building 2 feet off of the backyard, and we might as well do 2 feet off the side yard, so it addresses both side yard issues.
Why not more than 2 feet?
Is there a number that the board would like, or is there a number that the neighbor would prefer? I mean,
No, the neighbor doesn't make the decision.
What-
We do.
I
but
guess,
again,
Joe,
we're
the-
also trying to be good neighbors too, and if somebody has a suggestion, I mean, 3 feet?
Well, Joe, based on the size of the garage, the rear has to be half the principal setback, so it's 12 and a half feet. So I guess the question is, if it's going to be torn down and moved, why can't it comply with the existing zoning? That's the elephant in the room. Right there, if the building's coming down, what is the rationale or justification for it not complying with the zoning?
Well, again, typically, if we're gonna reconstruct a structure, we put it back in the same spot. It's not, we're just not asking for side yard and rear yard, we're also asking for floor area and other items. So no matter where we put this, there's still gonna be all those variances. You know, the more that the garage is moved forward, it now just becomes unusable space. It's just dead space. So if the neighbors are just looking for something about how is it gonna be maintained, if there's a 3-foot space between the property line and their building, that's ADA accessible, that's 3-foot pathway. That's plenty for somebody to go there, you know, clean the gutter, wipe some mold off or some mildew, so, and that still doesn't, you know, have him lose 12 feet of backyard. And again, all the existing structures, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 other garages all abutting this property, and none of them are at the 12 and a half feet. They're all literally on the lines. We have the property survey, I have aerials, I have the site plan drawn on my, like, all these garages are tight.
Yeah, but they're not before us.
The board can consider that, but those applications and those properties, and you know this, they are not the subject matter before the board. You can use them as comparative, but they
Yes.
are not, don't interrupt me.
Sorry.
They are probative, but not dispositive evidence. I mean, I'm not trying to shoot you down here, but I mean, you're making some kind of, you're making some, you know, kind of broad assertions here. I mean, what can you do? Look, you need significant variances. You know, I'm not trying to present your application. You also need a D, you know, you need a D4. And while you need a D4, well, you don't need a Medici D4, you need a Coventry Square. You know, one of the things that's involved is, you know, can the property accommodate the change, the use? I mean, you're already, from the word go, you're starting with an encroachment. So, I mean, you've got some work to do with that. There's no other way to say it. I mean, I'll leave, you know, Mr. Cole is the planner. I mean, I'll defer to him, but you know, I thought I better express my concerns.
I agree there's a lot of relief required, but if the garage would comply, they would take care of the Cs. I understand what
Right.
you're saying. The question is, if the building's coming down, and it's gonna be a do-over, the question is, why can't it comply to get rid of those C variances? And I understand, I guess the reason is it's gonna take up 12 more feet of the backyard. I mean, that's
Correct.
I understand.
And then the applicant has some thinking to do, because again, there's nothing to prevent him
Right.
from keeping that garage and repairing it. And then it would actually stay on their property. So again, we're trying to come up with some kind of compromise that helps everybody here. So, you know, the only concern seemed like well, the main concern was, how is it gonna be maintained? Pulling that in 3 feet would allow the applicant to maintain that siding, whatever needs to be done, the siding, just a cleaning, on both of those sides, on the side and the rear. That 3 feet would allow that, without losing too much of his backyard. And again, it being similar to what, you know, again, when you're comparing, when we're doing these zoning analysis, we're looking at, well, you know, are there other garages adjacent to this? Are there other detached garages in the neighborhood? If this was the only detached garage that was back there, and we're putting it right on somebody's property line, it's like, well, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't belong. But there's literally 5 other garages surrounding this property. So I think the 3 feet is plenty. I mean, again, if you're allowed at 5 feet. You guys have another ordinance at 5 feet if it's a certain size square footage. Again, I'm speaking out of line here, but I have to ask the applicant, you know, is 5 feet the right number? But I think complying with 12 and a half feet would destroy a lot of his backyard, and it doesn't make sense for him to do that.
I also have to, and I don't mean to be persnickety, but I also take issue with the claim that you could leave this alone and essentially nothing would happen, because, you know, your neighbor has rights too. Your neighbor has legal rights in terms of encroachment on their property. I mean, I'm not trying to advise them as to what to do. That's not my job, but I think you may be being a little bit, well, I think you need to consider that as well. I mean, this is a bigger issue than that. It's you know, an encroachment is essentially almost like a taking. And, you know, you do not have an easement on the neighbor's property. You don't have any legal rights on the neighbor's property. No, sir, I don't want to get, I'm happy to debate you on easements any day of the week.
How do we know the longevity or the history of this? If
Are you claiming this is an adverse possession? I doubt that, sir.
why not? Why not? If it's been 30 plus years, this garage is definitely older than 30 years old. It's 100%
Then I
older than
suggest you
30 years.
consult with a qualified attorney in connection with adverse possession and easements, which I don't think you.
We didn't want to go that avenue, which is why we were removing that part. We don't want to keep it on their property and go the legal route. That's not why we were here. We were here to try to come up with a solution that fixes some of these issues, which is why we were removing that part from the beginning. And that's before the neighbors even came forward. The applicant's actually even willing.
Well, the neighbors came forward because they didn't feel that they were communicated with. I mean, they got the notice, which you must do legally, but ordinarily what happens in these circumstances is that a neighbor will broach the subject with the neighbor. I mean, look, I can argue the law with you all day long. I've done this for 40 years, all over the state. And I know the adverse possession law, and I also understand how this works. So, you know, it's fine to come up with an argument like that, but, you know, remember, there's equitable considerations and other things that fall into place. If you want to try to just say that, you know, well, we're entitled to this, that's not necessarily so. And that's not an argument that's really to be made before this board as a zoning as a zoning argument under the MLUL.
Mr. Chairman, would it make sense to take a recess on this?
Certainly would, Mike. Let's take 10.
Esteemed members, may I just make may I just make a comment, if that'd be okay?
Yeah, quickly.
Yes, sorry, thank you. My only comment is, I want to alleviate any issues with the neighbors. I apologize to my neighbors that I did not approach, so I'll take responsibility as the homeowner. My goal here is to give a space for my children to grow and play in. So if I have to set the 12-foot of the garage to build this space, I'd lose my backyard. I'd lose the grass that they can run on, play on their splash pads. So that would change a lot of the way I approach everything, which I'd hope not to do. My goal here is to help, and as my architect, Joseph Primiano, had mentioned, I want to make it better. If we are over, I want to remediate that. I don't want to be on their property. I don't want any issues with their property. I don't want to be, you know, I like my space, right? If you want me to close that from the fence with the back, I'll do, you know what I mean? I can make lines to set that with no problem. I'm not here to take anything. I'm here to just give to my, no, I understand.
I just take issue with the way this is being framed.
I think what
From a
we're
legal-
trying to share is that, and again, this will be my last point, what we're trying to share is that, or what I'm trying to share, is that I want a space for my kids to be able to grow and play and have fun and have this be theirs, and I don't want to take from anybody. And this is why we're asking for a lot, because I want to give them a lot, right? I'm trying to give them as much as I possibly can in the space I'm allotted. So I appreciate your
I
time.
think it would be fruitful just to take a recess.
Thank you very much.
Let's take,
My name is Mark, I'm sorry. I never introduced myself, I apologize. We've seen you run with your kids. Yeah, we play a lot. Yeah, oh, yes, yes, yes. I've seen you.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're not, we never wanted to, we don't consider having a right to use it, but we're also not trying to be bad neighbors.
I don't wanna be on
And
your
if
property.
you ever want to repair your garage, your existing garage, you're welcome.
We don't care about that, so that as a threat to us is not a threat, just so you know, Mr. Primiano. I think you're trying to bully us, and I don't appreciate it.
So look, you clarified something that's important,
Can we
which
talk
is
to our neighbor maybe and not you?
I
we need to
apologize.
sign
I'm not trying to bully you.
the garage is that, he says, it's front door is north to south. And the yard that's next to it, garden, and that's where the 20-foot high wall is right next to our property line. And so the lake comes from the south.
Right.
And then the whole yard turns into shade, right? That's the fundamental.
No, I understand, and again, I'm not trying to, I don't wanna take away the loveliness of your own yard, or your own, like, again, what I wanna do is, so all my kids, they just want a space to grow, right? So we wanna be able to on the garage, right? We wanna be able to let them go and exercise, if they, you know, as they grow, and they're 3 boys. Well, it's for me, but I have 3 boys, right? So they're gonna.
But we're not, you know, we read the rules.
No, and
We're not saying.
and I'm not, I understand, no, and I would have no problem moving it. Of course not, no, I know. Of course, thank you.
If you rotated the building, so it went east-west, and the sunlight would be better, and then if it's set back, but the 21 feet high is just.
I think because it's, so you're gonna see not so much the height of the 21, you're gonna see the slope, right? So it's gonna slope away from that, so the light would still come from the south on it.
This is a picture of the weeds.
Yeah, which I saw yesterday, and again, I can't get back there, right? I can't fit in that space.
Boy, the garage is.
The garage is
covered in
because,
vines.
yeah, it's covered, I can't get back there. I try, like, I want it, so,
You're allowed to.
yeah, no, again, of course I would, yeah. I guess, for like, my goal, and again, I appreciate you guys coming and speaking and vocalizing, and again, I didn't, when I didn't know who you guys were, spoke, I was like, oh, I did see you guys around, and I know you guys walk around the block, and you see my kids running around in the front and in the back, and they're playing.
You should have talked to us first before you spent all that money.
It was more because we had a vision in our mind. You know, where one of our neighbors did it, and we wanted that same kind of space to grow.
So
Yeah.
they're, they're also 16 foot height. They're not 20.
They're, I believe they're 18.
18?
Yeah, so we're just going a little bit above that just because of the ability to stand in that storage space to put stuff in, right? I'm a tall guy, so. Again, I'm not trying to encroach on you guys, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
I'm just trying to be neighborly, I wanna be able to make the space, I wanna be able to kind of be where it'll not, I don't wanna be a bad neighbor, right? Everybody around, like if you talk to the students or you talk, we love our neighbors, that's why we love this town. We have our, Brett and Ashley are like, yeah, we call him Uncle Brett. My kids call him Uncle Brett because of how, like, we love our neighbors. We obviously don't want to have a bad relationship with our neighbors, yeah.
I mean, so he's got to solve the sunlight problem. Like that wall going up 21 feet is just.
No, I understand, and I would never, yeah.
If you hate the shed, we'll remove the shed. It's not a big deal.
No, I personally don't, the garage was there when I bought the house. Yeah, right, so like, yeah, I don't know, I mean, the building, the structure that we're in is over, is I think, yeah, ours is older, so I don't know, I don't even know what was there prior proposed. Again, my goal here is to just bring an improvement so that I can stay, because I have the 3 kids, I don't have any storage space in the house. And so not really, no, because half the house is flat roof. So that other half of the house is like pointed and there's nowhere to put anything, so I'm stuck with like literally leaving my kids' toys over the years and their clothes. They have a small storage space up top. It's not as tall as ours, but it is the width of the building, just like what we're proposing. So that, again, we were trying to kind of mimic that kind of same structure. They had it as 3 cars. We were saying we're going to make it as 2 cars, and then that third space would be that gym. It could be an office space. Up on, yeah, she does her pottery up there, yeah. So we're just, even like for me, I work from home, and I don't even have a space to work. I work on the dining room table because all the bedrooms are taken, because we have 4 kids. Yeah, we have 3 kids, yeah. Yeah, so we have.
We don't have any kids.
Yeah. So much, yeah, I can't wait for that empty nester. But the idea is just that, like, for me to work on the dining room, that would be a nice office space.
I just showed up in Borough Hall, looked at it, it's like, see this 21 foot high wall next to it.
Yeah, I guess I definitely would be not acceptable. I completely agree. I don't mind taking that 2-3 feet away and pushing it, just so that it doesn't, so that way we can go 3 feet all around and we can maintain the building. We can close off that space.
The current walls.
It's 8 feet and then the gable roof, right?
Goes
So,
up, right?
yeah,
So-
so this will be a little bit higher than, it'll be the
If
same.
it gabled up that way,
Yeah.
started at like 8 feet.
I don't know if it's the 8 foot when it gables up over the sunlight, right, Joe? How many feet does it go up before it starts to gable up?
Well, the wall, you're gonna be a full high wall.
Show me on your, because Chris looked at it in detail, but I didn't. But the wall that's right next to our yard, Chris
So-
thinks is the 20-foot wall.
Yeah, so, oh, no,
And that's where my garden
See, the
is.
confusion is you're thinking about our house, but our lawn goes along the side as well.
So this
is our
wall,
garden.
this wall is 9 feet, so that,
This is the 20 feet here?
yes.
Because this is my garden.
Yeah, that's right.
So on the, where is your,
But that's the side of it, right?
That's
where
right,
is,
that's the north
where is
side.
your garden, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Where is your garden on this? This is your house, this is,
this right here,
Mark's?
this is an old picture.
okay. So the garden's back here. Okay. So we were turning, right now, the ridge runs this way. We were gonna turn that and run the peak this
Well,
way.
that's what you have in the drawings.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's the
correct,
problem, because that's
correct.
where that's where it's tallest. So the sunlight gets blocked going onto the lawn by doing that.
Okay,
But if you did like this for half of the roof, that would solve the problem with the light.
And then just push it back 3 feet.
we'd be okay with.
a hip, adding a little hip roof on that side then.
Like-
We would pull it back and we do a slope on this side. And
Yeah,
we-
that's right.
And we do a slope on that
Make
side.
that slope similarly to the way it is now, and just
Okay,
pull it back a
okay.
few feet, and then just pull it back from the property line a
Yeah,
little
we
bit
go
too.
that, we do that 2-3 feet. I'm okay with that.
at least 3,
3, sure.
yeah.
Three's
Now,
fine. Three's
now,
But again, it's not gonna be our
This
decision,
guy's-
So
it's
if
gonna
you,
be
if
theirs.
you guys, what I would ask is if you can go
you-
back
you
up
don't-
and
you don't need
ask
to-
for.
You don't need to do that.
No,
It's
but
just
again,
this-
It would be the symmetry of the building.
Correct, we would do it on this side because otherwise it would look strange. But if you, again, if you guys say, listen, we think 3 feet would be a right number, we'll give you 5. Like, again, we wanna show that we're being good neighbors because it's not just, you know.
Should you redraw it and just bring it back to them? I mean,
We could, and if you'd like to see, and have input on that roof line,
Yeah.
are you okay
Yeah.
doing something
I-
like
I-
that? So why don't we do that then? Let me we'll pull this in off the property line. We'll do the hip roofs on the edges so you get some sunlight coming in there. And then we'll come back, I'll send it to you guys give me your contact information. And we'll send it to you guys so you get some feedback and then we'll come
I
back.
can't tell you what he'll say, if anything.
Well, he's not here.
I know, but he
He's
just,
in Florida.
Yeah.
he's like,
Really enjoying.
But
his
again,
view is
Half
everything's
year
gotta
and
follow his
half
own.
year.
you know-
He's the one who gave the Dugans a lot of.
You know, and again,
I did, I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
you guys are the neighbors, you know, so like you guys gotta.
Yeah, I just
guys
think
should
it's
have a good
I agree to waste the land to do what
Yeah.
the Dugans had to do.
Yeah, like, look at all that extra space that they have to pull in, and they don't have any,
Okay.
like, I'm trying to keep that for them to.
All right, let me,
You guys ready?
we are, we're gonna carry it, good, yeah.
Okay, Jason. We're back. Okay. Where are we?
So, we had some discussions, obviously with the neighbor. We're hearing some feedback from the neighbors, we're hearing some feedback and discussion from the board. We would like to carry this meeting. We're gonna get some input from the neighbors and update the plan, send it to them, get their input on it, and try to come back with something that appeases everybody.
Great.
Very
Okay.
good, very good. I think that's very.
That's a great
very
plan. That's a great
pragmatic
plan.
and appropriate and considerate of your neighbors.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have our, this is more procedural than anything. I presume you will consent to extending the time for consideration of the application so we don't have any concerns about an automatic approval.
Correct.
Very good. And I don't know when our next, how's our calendar, Mr. Secretary?
We've got the storage place on the
I
15th.
was gonna say,
We
got-
have a storage on the 15th, we have a storage in May, we have PSC&G in June, but there is an opportunity, depending on, Joe, do you know how much time you're gonna need for this? Do you think
Well,
2
I mean-
months, 6 weeks?
Oh, to do the updates?
Yes, to work, to
A
take
week.
consideration in.
A week, I'll have the changes to them immediately. Yeah, if that helps, if that keeps the process moving to get us on a fresh meeting. If they need more time, if we get you drawings, I mean, a week or two for us to go back and forth, is that ample? So, 2 weeks. the
Yeah, if
most.
you can send an email granting an extension for the board to act
Sure.
through, it's April, we're saying by the end of May, is that, or should we be June? June,
And-
end of June.
End of June.
Okay.
And as soon as you get the information in, we'll schedule it.
Oh, okay, get this
Right,
stuff
we'll
back
get
to you
it
for. Oh, that's fine.
agendized as
That's
soon as
fine.
Right, what I'm
can,
saying
yeah.
is the time the board.
No,
So
we're not
extension of
looking to
time
delay
to
you.
June? Okay.
Just get an email to Ryan Bakey saying that you waive the time the board to act through the end of June, June 30th, 2026.
Okay.
And when we get the plans in, we'll schedule the hearing.
Okay.
It's about that simple. I'll revise the report based on what comes up, and we'll schedule. If it's a
Okay.
problem with June, it takes more time, then we'll just ask for any additional extension, if that's acceptable to the board.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, yeah, definitely.
Very good. Well, we'll just announce to the public that this, do we have a new date?
We don't have a date, but if it takes too long, you might have to renotice, but let's just see how this goes. What I'm
Right.
saying, if it's 2 weeks, the board will entertain, sure, discuss whether you can hear without additional noticing. But if it's going to be 4 or 5 months, the board may require additional noticing. But let's see how your plans go and on your side.
You got it?
Because we do have public service coming back in June, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We have some applications, but. There's a couple of windows, beginning of May. I know that we might not have a full board in the beginning of May, depending on. But there is, in the beginning of June, we have some opportunities to hear this application in the next month or two. So I don't think that the board schedule is going to be the holdup here.
Okay.
It's just coordinating and getting your plans in.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you again, esteemed board. Appreciate your time.
Here, that's mine. Doesn't have my address on it, but you know.
No
what
worries.
it is.
Thank you.
Jason, who do we have?
Next up, we have discussion, 12 Lisa Terrace, waiver for street tree.
This is an application that the board approved about 3 years ago for a patio, a driveway extension. The applicant has done the work, but the tree, it was 2 trees put in. One was by the borough, which complies, and another street tree, which doesn't comply with the caliber. It's very, very small. So the relief coming to the board is, does the board accept the tree that's small? And the work was done, the improvements were made, and I didn't get a chance to inspect it. So there's an affidavit, but Cliff needs to read it. My understanding of an affidavit is you have to have a notary seal. There's no seal in the affidavit,
Right.
just saying,
It can't just be a
the
certification.
notice says that we did the work in accordance with what the board approved. So this is coming up for one of the trees, and does the board accept an affidavit, should we get one, stating that the improvements were done as directed or approved by the board? This is the one where the patio in the back, there was a driveway with, they had the roof leaders, they had to get the water to the street because we had a drainage problem in the back. If it helps, we can certainly bring the resolution and the plans to the board, my understanding today is, I thought you would have the resolution in front of you, but I was told today that the resolution was not given to the board, so you don't have it. So if the board would like to see the resolution and the plans, I can certainly get those to the board for next, we can discuss this if the board likes with more information in the next meeting. It's just that he's saying he's done and he's looking for closure. So that's why the letter was written. And I apologize, I didn't know the resolution wasn't given. I thought the resolution of the approval, so you guys could refresh, the board members could refresh themselves with the affidavit letter. But I don't think the board was provided with the resolution.
How's the tree doing?
It will know in about 3 weeks or a
Yeah.
month when it leaves out.
If it-
But,
Yeah, if the tree's doing what a tree's supposed to do.
when I saw the tree, it's wintertime, so I can't answer that.
Well, we'll know soon.
Yes.
Let that be our guiding light as opposed to an affidavit.
So we can, if the board likes, I can get the resolution, the approved plans, and we can follow up at the next meeting. It's only slowing the applicant up because he just wants to finalize it.
Yeah.
It's his escrow back, but I don't think 2-week wait to look at the resolution and to see if the tree buds and what's going on there.
Yeah.
Sounds like the applicant may also have to supplement its escrow.
Right, and that's another one. There's a deficient escrow, so, Ryan Bakey's addressing that.
Yeah, but if the tree's growing, let's just get it cleaned up.
Okay.
You know.
So I'll get the resolution to the board members, and I'll see if I can get a reduced copy of the approved plans the board saw. So you have just,
Okay.
so the question is, Cole, what are we, we looked at him, we're so busy, what are we talking about here, right? I get it.
They put a tree in that we did not approve.
We did not approve for the size. It's 2.5 or 3 inch caliper. The tree out there is not 3 or 2.5 inch caliber. It's a much smaller tree. And,
Where'd they get it, do we know?
no,
Trees are.
no.
Yeah, Trees R Us, yeah. But is it one of those lists of accepted trees?
I can't even tell you the species, Mr. O'Neill. I will, the next meeting, I will have that information for you.
Okay, and by that time, it'll be growing. And as we find out as sumac, we can decide what to do with it.
Yeah, this is the application. There's a fence in the backyard surrounding the property. I'm not gonna walk in the guy's backyard to check it out. He says it's done. I had a conversation with Mr. Martinez, and I said, put it in writing and ask the board, this is where what you did, and this is what the relief you're looking for. So that's what you see the correspondence for.
Okay, okay. Is there any other business to come before the board?
We're up to chairman's comments.
Oh, the only thing I can think of is that we've been meeting with the, every Thursday with, planning board members, Mike, Colin Driver, Glenn Denis, and, who else? Jason. And we'll be talking about, we just went through the affordable housing thing that all 564 municipalities have been wrestling with. Last year, I had asked the board to take a look at things going on in their neighborhood because we're getting ready to start working on the revisions to the master plan and the zoning ordinance. And we could think of stuff like, I talk about Davenport Street, how the, what we used to be called the America's First Urban Renewal Project, the Samuel Davenport plots that went from High Street down to probably Orchard. Mr. Davenport owned all that land, and one day he decided to divest himself of it, so he's subdivided all that property, all of those properties, and he had a lottery. It was called Lottery Field, and for $25 you get a ticket. And the very first winner got not only a lot, but he got Samuel Davenport's house. But all of those are small lots. So anything they want to do, they've got to come before us because I know like where my church is, in an R2 zone, it's supposed to be 50 feet wide. You've got 3 houses, total 93 feet, where 150 is required. So anything they want to do, they've got to come before us. And in so many cases, the cost of the procedure coming before us costs more than the project. So we're trying to take a look at that and say, if you only have 35 feet, like one of my neighbors has, one has 35, the other has 28. And they want to put a deck up, they got to come before us. And that's going to cost more than the project. So we took a look at that, and we're going to take a look at other things that are just pre-existing conditions, like what we have here.
It's good to say
This
what
one
we had
is,
tonight. It was exactly that.
Yeah, this one is my neighborhood, and this is exactly the problem that I have, where if I'm gonna expand, I got well, my lot's a little different, but, basically, you see it all over town where the property line is 5 feet, they're 5 feet off the property line,
I
or
wish
the
I had
garage is, the garage is on the property line or just about there. That's all over town.
And I was telling somebody that many years ago, I could stand in my backyard, touch my garage and my neighbors. And then one night, or one afternoon, the kids decided, let's play with fire. And they burnt their grandmother's garage down, and went to mine and jumped to another one, 3 in one shot, because they were so close.
Wow.
Dang.
I mean, so the way things are now, it almost disincentivizes
Yes,
Yeah, it does.
improvements
exactly.
that could
I said there was
benefit the whole community.
a couple of things my wife and I want to do in our place. We've got to get variances.
You gotta know somebody.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone?
I was talking to somebody, they want to put a front porch out, and they're on a corner, the front or the side. And they said, can't do, they went to AI and described what they want to do using the guidelines of our master plan and zoning ordinance. AI kept coming back, no can do.
On a positive note, the fair share plan, the borough's been certified.
All right.
So
great.
it's resolved, certified, so the affordable housing plan is
Nice.
finally finished. Well, as finished you can get for now.
And the other one is the South Bridge Street, where they're gonna change 2 apartments into 4. I guess that project's just about dead.
They're gonna come back to the board. The new buyer said, I just came in the Borough Hall about 2 weeks ago and saying that she's almost ready for a new submittal. So the board remembers, this is a preliminary approval, and the board wants them to come back with finalized plan. This is the one where the building maybe had to come down. This is the holes and all that. So they're gonna come back for final approvals, based on my understanding, probably within the next couple of months
That's
to
good.
get that project moving.
I hope they can put some, 1 or 2 of the apartments for veterans. Homelessness with veterans is, it's bad. It's really bad. Okay. Anything else to come before the board? Someone like to move for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Move second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Good evening.